Renee, Scott from Hey You Guys. Lovely to see you. Congratulations on the film.
Thanks so much.
When you were doing your research for Judy, I mean, what was the most surprising thing that you found out about her that you didn't perhaps know beforehand?
I didn't know much about this chapter in her life. I had assumed that she was extraordinary and that she lived out her days being celebrated, and I did not know that she was facing financial hardships and having difficulty securing work and things like that. It would never have occurred to me that a woman who worked at that level for such an extensive period of time would be grappling with the circumstances that she was toward the end of her life. It was very surprising to me.
So, what was the biggest challenge for you playing this role? Was it the singing aspects? Was it kind of, I don't know, the part where she's a little bit older? Or was there a specific thing that you thought was the biggest challenge?
It's so hard to say. I don't know if I can dissect it that way, because it just felt like this series of experiments where we sort of, with the different departments, we were all just trying things every day. And we just kept trying things until there was a movie, until we felt like we were getting something that felt appropriate, So, and it was all joyful. Every bit of it was joyful, even the bits that took a little time.
What did you do to get into character before going on set?
Well, we had a lot of references from interviews that she had given at different stages in her career, and so I had those in my headphones all the time so that I could hear her voice and check in, and her music all the time, things like that. It was always, everything was around all the time. Her photographs, her books, her interviews, her music. It was going all the time. It felt very much alive in the space when we were celebrating her making this film,
What was it like singing the songs?
It was really cool. It was really cool. And I had a lot of help. I had the best team of a bunch of guys there every day who were saying, yes you can, just do it. It was wonderful, wonderful.
And to play Judy Garland, what an honour, what a role.
Yeah, it really was. It didn't feel like a role. It didn't feel like we were making a movie. It just felt like this sort of active expression of adoration and affection for her and appreciation. It felt like just this celebration that went on. And, I don't know. It was wonderful. That's all I can say.
You're also a star. Who would play you in the film about your life?
Oh, nobody.
Nobody?
No, they're not going to make a film about me.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I know. All the
Thank you.
not true.
And are your red Louboutins the red soul and not
You've got a special link to this, obviously, given your Andrew Lloyd Webber experience. Came second, third?
Second, yeah.
Congratulations on that. Let me ask you about this particular character, because at the beginning she's got a preconception of what Judy's going to be like, but then over time she kind of softens to her and realises just what she's going through. I mean, what was it like playing a character like that?
I really enjoyed playing ROSALYN. She's so she's quite far away from who I am. I'd never be as organised like that ever in my life. But I suppose, to go on that journey with somebody who at the beginning is emotionally quite zipped up, and through Judy's massive heart and emotional power is cracked open, and both of them in a way lean on each other and find each other's friendship. It was brilliant. And I loved it. I loved being part of it.
Was it difficult to detach from the fact that Renee was playing Judy, and that especially watching the movie, that she is Judy Garland in many ways? Was it hard to kind of detach yourself from the fact that it almost felt like you were acting with Judy Garland?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you'd look over and it would be, the camera wouldn't be rolling and she'd just be sitting up in the camera, and her whole physicality, and you'd just be like, oh my God, I can't believe what that is. And like, even one evening when we were filming in Talk of the Town and she was singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Michael Gambon, we were in between takes, and Renee was just kind of, sitting down talking to all the extras, and he grabbed my hand and he just looked and he was like, who's that girl? She's incredibly special. And I actually had no idea if he was talking about Renee or if he was talking about Judy, and the two of us had kind of tears in our eyes of this beautiful spirit of whether it was Judy or it was Renee. It was magic. It was really...
Just very quickly, very busy time for you, working with Charlie Kaufman, working with Robert Downey Jr., and doing Fargo season 4. I mean, which of those three babies are you most looking forward to people seeing?
Oh God, I don't know. Well, I don't know. It's I don't know, a terror time at the moment before you start going on to the filming. So I that's not for me to decide. They can make up their own mind about what I've done, good or bad. I'm sure it's great.
Thank you for your time. Absolute pleasure. Tell me a little bit about the project, how you got involved, because you have a quite a pivotal role behind the scenes, if you like.
I did maybe 3 or 4 auditions to get this part, and I was living down in Cornwall at the time, and I kept travelling up, and each time I thought it was getting progressively worse and worse and worse, and then I got the call and said I got this part, and I remember reading the script and realising this is something special, and if we can pull it off, it's going to tell a truthful story about a misunderstood person, a legend, and we really have. Like, I think we've really pulled it off, and I got to the read-through. I remember we were all sitting around, we started reading it, and I realised everybody's there for the right reasons. You know, everybody's trying to make this truthful piece of work, and it really comes across.
I mean, your character, when we first meet him, he's kind of undecided as to whether it's going to work, whether she's still got the chops. But you see as she's going, the backlash she has to deal with, and everything that she has to deal with from the fans, and you know, struggling with her voice and everything else. But your character's kind of a nice shoulder for her in many ways. I mean, was that did you feel that in the script that this was a very kind of true relationship of the two at the time?
I did. I really did. I think, like you said, he has a preconception of what she's going to be like, and as the story develops, he learns that there's so much more, you know, behind it. It's what happens when the big star comes off stage. It's about the nerves. It's about the fragility, and I think he sees that more than most. And he's kind of the silent hero in a way, and he's there to look after her, and he realizes how best to deal with her, even if it's unspoken. And I think that's a really beautiful relationship, and one I really wanted to tell, and to get to work with Renee to do it was, I mean, a dream.
As you mentioned her just then, I mean, she gives an amazing performance. Have you seen the film yet? Because there's so many people that
I saw it a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I mean, you're in for a treat. You're in for an absolute treat.
It's almost, talking to the producer a second ago, it was almost like the film doesn't start with Renée Zellweger. It almost starts with Judy Garland, because she's so good and she disappears so much into it. What was it like being around her when she was performing, when she was on that stage where you were, you know, feet from her, if you like?
It was surreal. I mean, she first and foremost, she's the most amazing person, and genuine and lovely and welcoming. And as an actor too, there's a reason she's the best, you know. And I remember when I was on stage, I sat there during rehearsal when I was playing piano, and she was singing, and I just looked up, and you know, I was in my tux, and I saw the band and the lights, and just Judy Garland was standing there, and she was singing, and I was transported back to the '60s, and it was the most surreal, beautiful moment I've experienced in my career, and an absolute joy to be able to do it with Renee.
And next for you as an actor, forgive me if IMDb is incorrect, blame IMDb, but you're part of the Witcher TV show?
No.
You're not?
I'm joking, I am.
You are?
See, don't doubt yourself, man.
Oh, hey, I try and do my job as well as I can. Hugely exciting for so many people.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill in the lead, who you know, Instagram. He's been keeping us up to date on Instagram about what he's been doing, and his white wig and everything else. What's it like being on that set? Because it's a Netflix show, and it looks like a very big budget. What's it been like to be in a different environment?
It's brilliant. I mean, this is what I love about acting. You get to do so many different things, so many diverse things. You can be any character at any point, at any part of the universe. It's the most amazing job in the world. And to go on the Witcher set, I mean, it's vast and it's huge, but it's still like this. It's all about the relationships. It doesn't matter how big your universe is. It doesn't matter how legendary your character is. It's about personal relationships, and that's what makes a great piece. So for me to be part of this, to be part of The Witcher, I mean, I'm so grateful, and I'm so excited for people to see them.
I'm excited to see it as well. Listen, thank you so much for your time. Absolute pleasure. Have a good evening. Thanks so much. I remember talking to you last year. You told us how excited you were for this movie. Now I've seen it, I know what you were talking about. Tell me, when you read the script, I mean, what was it about this particular project that spoke to you? Because there's so many layers to it.
I absolutely love the era. I love the period. Big fan of Judy Garland and Renée Zellweger, and Rupert Goold directing it, and a beautiful part. I mean, what's not to like? So I haven't seen it yet, though. I'm so excited. Yeah,
I also, great thing, your character and I can't remember your partner's name in the movie.
Yes.
They have this love of Judy Garland, but also it's part of the era that, you know, very reflective and very much, you know, looking at where we were then and where we are now. Yeah. I mean, was it important for you to tell that story right and to give it as much justice as possible?
Absolutely. I think it's really important when you think about how gay rights have moved on and how that world has changed, it's very easy to forget that it's only a blink away that you'd be put in prison. And it's so elegantly written, the story that I go through, and sharing that with Judy and Renee, it's a very beautiful thing to do, and it was very important to me to tell that as sincerely and honestly and as I could. So I think I'm very excited to see it.
There's two sequences in the movie that were very, very touching when you're in the company of Judy. One where you're at your house, and another where you're at the concert with your partner, and she's struggling, but you kind of give her a bit of impetus and stuff like that.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. Two beautiful moments. What was it like being in those moments with Renee, but also in those general moments?
Well, the thing is, when you're doing a film, and as an actor, what you hope for are moments that aren't just perfunctory, that you can actually do something with. So when I read this role, I mean, I've only probably got 7 or 8 scenes, but they're all with Renee. And the scenes, the way they were written, just meant there was real moments, and that's just so exciting. It's all you want.
I can imagine when you saw her performing that you got a sense of her performance, but you haven't seen the film yet. You're in for an absolute treat.
She's unbelievable. She's unbelievable to work with, and absolutely delightful. So lovely to everybody. That's really something.
And you're going from this to something very big next year with Jungle Cruise, with
I've done that as well.
Little Dwayne Johnson and little Emily Blunt, tiny little independent film for Disney. How was that experience? Because I imagine that was much, much bigger, but also just as enjoyable given the people that are involved.
I think the set that I did, the lion's share of I've got quite a few scenes in that, but there's a big set that I did. I think that set probably cost more than the entire budget of Ghost Stories. So it's quite an adventure, doing things on that level, But amazing. And I was out in Atlanta for best part of a month, So, again, haven't seen it. But who has yet? No one. But that's Gemma who directed that, who I did The Commuter with. It was great. And Ula Birkland, who shot Ghost Stories. So that was a nice, friendly face.
Listen, enjoy the movie. You will have an absolute blast. Thank you so much for your time. Pleasure again. You as well. See you later. Extraordinary movie. How did it come across your table, and what was it about the way the story was told that kind of intrigued you as a director?
Well, I was a bit wary of biopics normally because I think, how do you get a structure on them? But I really like that this was sort of about a very defined period in her life. Two periods of her life. So that felt like a single story rather than lots of little stories.
And I mean, Renee in the role, I've been saying to everybody tonight, it doesn't feel like you're watching Renée Zellweger, it feels like you're watching Judy Garland. I mean, what was it like on set with that? Was it difficult to kind of detach yourself from not directing Judy Garland in some way?
No, but I mean, to be honest, by the time it finished and I saw Renee again in America with blonde hair, I was like, who's that? Because she sort of was Judy. I guess, she was always very funny, and both Renee and Judy, so sometimes I couldn't tell who was cracking the jokes.
Was there anything in terms of Judy and her history that kind of surprised you, given what she had to go through in this period of her life?
I think maybe the degree of institutionalised medication she was given by the studio. The sort of eccentricity of her behaviour in London. The fact she was still sort of a bit of a wild child at heart. I didn't know a huge amount about Judy Garland before I started, to be honest, so it was all an education.
In terms of audiences, I mean, there's so many movies out these days, big movies, small movies. I mean, what are you hoping audiences, when they go and see this one, that they kind of take away from it?
I hope they're moved about, like, how, if it's not too sentimental, about how, however low you are in life, you can still find love and hope. I think Garland's legacy is about kind of hope in the face of odds against you. Ultimately, maybe those odds caught up with her, but there are these shards of wonderful things that happened to her in the last part of her life that I hope the film captures. I think it's what I like about the idea of the movie is it can speak to obviously an older generation who may remember Garland better. Obviously, it speaks to the gay audience in a specific way, and she means a lot there. But I also, when we've tested it, I think it really spoke to sort of younger female audiences as well. And I it's still relatively rare to have a movie carried by a woman over 40, and it's her story. And what I love about Renee's authorship of that role is it feels sort of driven by her.
Tell me a little bit about how you got involved, how the project was presented to you, and why you wanted to make it.
I saw a film in 2012 called The End of the Rainbow. I thought this could absolutely be a movie. immediately the next day, it was on the front page of the New York Times Arts and Leisure section. I thought, that's it. A huge Hollywood producer is going to have picked it up. But I knew the producer of the play, who will be here tonight, and I said, please, just hold on to it for me. And he did. He held on to it for me, and I sent it to Renee once we had a script written, and here we are today.
Was the because it's a very unusual narrative in the way that you jump back and forth, and it's not just told through flashbacks. It's told part of her story, but part of how she's feeling and her kind of emotions at the same time when she's young and when she's old. Yeah. Was that part of it when the original project was up, or was that part of the script as you got it?
Well, the original. I commissioned the script, so the script didn't arrive, but the play was very different. So it was. I'm just trying to hold on to the umbrella here. I'm going to be Mary Poppins in a minute. It was a three-hander, the play, one of the characters being fictitious. We met a woman called ROSALYN Wilder, who will also be here tonight, who was part of the original Talk of the Town crew. When I say crew, she was production manager or production assistant. She gave us all this information. She gave us music that no one's ever heard of Judy singing at the Talk of the Town. She gave us introductions to people that have never spoken about Judy for 40 years, all true. So we just fleshed this script out in the most incredible way. Tom Edge, our brilliant screenwriter, did. Pieced it all together. So it's a very different experience to the play, but it's the same setting. And, 2 out of 3 of the same characters.
And obviously you spoke about Renee there. I mean, she's absolutely tremendous in the movie, and it's one of those performances where you don't know it's Renée Zellweger. It feels like it's Judy Garland from the minute beginning. What was it about her that made her kind of perfect for this? I mean, had you seen something of hers that you thought this is the perfect Judy, or was it just because it was her, she had the talent to do so?
Well, our little joke is our second choice was Peter Dinklage. I mean, we had nowhere to go. I mean, if you really look at it, honestly, and you look at it, and you sit down and you do a list, as I did, and I didn't have her in mind when we were writing the script initially. I didn't have anyone in mind. So we started to run through the list, and I went, okay, who's got the drama chops? Well, Renee's won an Oscar for Cold Mountain. Who's got the comedy chops? Well, I think she was nominated for Golden Globe, I can't remember. Anyway, obviously brilliant and hugely successful in Bridget Jones. Who can sing? Well, she was in Chicago. Well, I welcome you to come up with your second choice. I literally had nowhere to go. So I sent it to her manager, got an email back, didn't open it for 24 hours because I knew it would be no. And I just thought, I'll just for a night, I won't have a miserable night, I'll pretend that she's going to do it. And the next morning I opened it and it said, everybody loves it, including Renee.
But I do now want to see the Peter Dinklage version of Judy. You've set it off in my brain now. It's hilarious.
Well, as his manager said, Renee's agent is actually Peter Dinklage's agent. And I said to him, this is a joke that we'd said at the cast and crew, and he said, I represent Peter, he would have done an excellent job.
That's the best thing possible. Just finally before you go, it's a busy time for you. You've got Last Christmas, you're producing on Last Christmas as well. Have you seen a lot of these fan theories about what the movie actually is about from the trailer? Because everyone's got their theory as to Emilia Clarke's character, Henry Golding's character, and it's all very mysterious, everything else. I mean, not that you'll give anything away, but have you seen those theories? Do you think any of them are kind of on the money if you've seen them? Or?
I would say they're not on the money. I would say that people have got theories about it, but there are certain things that I can't tell you without giving it away, to be honest with you. I can't tell you anything else different without giving it away. But we're not fueling it in any way.
But the trifecta of Paul Feig, Emilia, Henry, and obviously Emma Thompson,
and
George Michael, of course. You're hoping this is going to be. People are talking about this quite a lot, aren't they? Are you hopeful this is going to be a success?
Every producer is hopeful that everything they ever make is going to be a hit. My suspicion is, in honesty, I went to a marketing presentation the other day and I went, oh my God, they're spending how much? It looks to me like it is going to be a hit. I mean, it's a really good movie. Emma had a meeting with George a few years ago, actually. Part of the inspiration of it came from him. So we're huge. I'm a huge George Michael fan, and Emma was too. So we always hope for the best. Don't overclaim, but hope for the best.
I think you got a hit on your ads.
Well, I hope.
On both counts.
Oh, we love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh? Hey You Guys. Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey